Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's vlog post. It's really important in all markets for our clients and our referral partners to trust us and the information that we share with them. I think it's even more important to be sure that you're creating that trust and earning that trust when trust is really in short supply. And I think not just from our industry, but all across the board, people are having issues with finding it hard to be able to trust information or people or the very things that we all used to believe in. It used to be a time when I was a kid, we all trusted the news. Nobody doubted for a second the information that came from the lips of Walter Cronkite as he told us all what was going on and what was taking place, in the country and around the world. We trusted our national experts that gave us information. And of course, we believed the president when he spoke. Today, the bias in what people are doing and what people are saying for their own agenda is just so completely apparent that the beliefs, the personal beliefs of the person conveying information who's speaking to you largely in the format that which they're speaking, or maybe even the channel or the publication or the link that you're finding their information, or even the platform that they're using. Because even platforms, even carriers, the mainstream media, let's be honest, more and more they're pulling toward the extreme part of their bias. And it becomes very challenging to know whether that information is correct, or the information is being filtered to tailor a narrative that suits the position of either the speaker or whoever the speaker is representing. And these things get said and thrown out there, and we've seen it where people go out there and make outlandish statements, and when the statements are proven time and time again to be false, or them saying things that were going to happen by a certain point or a certain time, and they didn't happen by a certain point and a certain time, there's no admission of failure. There's no admission of wrongdoing. There's no admission that they were wrong or incorrect in their assessment, or why whatever they said or whatever they believed was going to happen didn't take place. And so without those retractions, it becomes harder and harder for people to trust, especially in a clickbait environment where there are whole-scale operations, companies, people who make a living just getting you to click on a headline or a narrative to view whatever it is they're doing, because they've monetized the channel to which their platform resides. And I believe right now the markets themselves are trying to figure out who and what to believe, and what is really factual information, what are factual interpretations by people who are supposedly government officials who are not supposed to be biased one way or another, or when government officials point to their own agencies and at one time say you have to trust this agency because they always get it right, and then the following week or month goes by and something else happens and this agency doesn't support their narrative, and you can't trust this agency and they've been wrong before. It really makes it challenging for people to understand what's going on, and the markets themselves are trying to figure out what's going on and where things are headed, and what people are really going to do versus what they're saying. And I think right now we're at one of those points, and I think it's a critical point for sure. Now, I'm speaking to it, from strictly a mortgage bond market analysis or trust in the housing market and those things, because it's really hard to believe in an economy that the people who are in control of that economy, the people who are supposed to be the most educated, the highest and best professionals that we have in our country, have over the last 2 years just been so blatantly wrong, incorrect, or, to be honest with you, out and out lied about information. And I thought the last few weeks we were making some really good progress in the markets. I thought that the markets, especially the mortgage bond market, was responding well to what was going on. I thought we had put a floor in, and I thought we were recovering, and I thought, hey, we got the 10-year under 3%, and we got mortgage bonds trading in a pretty nice area right now with a really solid floor underneath us, and maybe we could break through to some really nice rate improvements in pricing. And the next thing you know, we get another $800 billion in spending getting thrown into an economy that is already dealing with 8.5% inflation, even though President of the United States will come out there and tell you we had zero inflation in July. It's really hard when people make such outlandishly incorrect statements that are just so far off the mark. And your question is, do they know any better, or they just don't care that they're lying to your face? And we just had it this week. We spent another $800 billion we're throwing into this economy, which now puts us close to $4 trillion of spending, in addition to the normal stuff that the government has to do. $4 trillion in additional spending. Most of that money still hasn't even hit the market, but it's been borrowed already. And you're wondering why inflation is where inflation is and all these other things. And the fact that you decide to name this law that you passed, or the bill that you passed, the Inflation Reduction Act, doesn't make it so. I mean, you can call a goat a pig all day long, and it's not. You can call the sky green. It's not. The reality of it is things are what they are, and you put that on the backs of the fact that inflation is transitory, and all these other statements that the government keeps making that the American people keep finding out are incorrect, and the markets are finding out are incorrect. It's very hard for people and for the markets to really zero in on what's going on, what the real intent is. Is there anybody who's willing to step up and own anything they say or do? And so I come here this morning to you guys saying, the bond market, we've already broken through some significant levels of support to the downside. The 20-year bond auction yesterday was pretty bad. To me, we can pray that the level that we're on, and we're only about a dozen or so basis points above one of the last floors of support, before we can literally fall another 100 or so basis points to the downside. And we're going to get unemployment claims this morning, and we're going to get continuing claims information, and the market's going to be looking at this, and they're going to try to sort through the data and figure out, what is a recession? Is it really a session? What does the word mean? Are we changing the definition of words? What's going to happen? How will they react? Because clearly, we deal in a market where interest rates are an important factor to what's going on. And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that, a few days ago, I was fairly comfortable that the bond market was in a pretty stable place. We had a nice trading range that we were going to be in. We were going to be able to catch our breath through the rest of the summer and into the fall, and at least take some of the volatility out of it. And then this past week, the markets are looking at everything and realizing that, they don't know the direction and what information to trust or to believe. And when that happens, things can get a little dicey. And when you start breaking through floors of support on the downside of your business, and there's one last floor of support, if you break through that, it's pretty much a free fall for 100 or so basis points. You got to pay attention. So I'm not here to try to scare you. I'm here to try to remind you, don't buy into the hype. Don't get wrapped up into the hype. Understand the information, share factual pieces with people, and let them know it's not about rate, it's about payment. Okay? It's understanding that you have a cost to live somewhere. If the house and the property that you want to buy functions for you and your family, and you're thinking about taking a 30-year mortgage because you want to buy it and you want to live there, if you can make the payment work, go ahead and close on that deal, because you're going to need a place to live regardless. And if the payment works out for you, that's fine, because you can always refinance. If the market improves down the road, you can always refinance to the other side, but you can't protect yourself both in the price and in the market if things go the other way. So as always, if you like it, lock it. And I will talk to you again next week. Take care.